everyone, welcome back! If you've been watching this channel for a while, you'll know that I've always believed in teaching real English, the kind of English that people actually speak every day, and that's not changing. In fact, that's why I'm taking the channel in a slightly new direction. Over the years, I've also taught IELTS, and I've noticed a pattern. More and more of my students have been asking the same questions. Do I need to use more advanced vocabulary? Is IELTS English different from real English? Should I sound more academic in my exam? And I completely understand why they're asking. If you've ever searched online for IELTS advice, you've probably seen endless lists of Band 9 vocabulary, advanced words you must use, and words to impress your examiner. I can see how some people might think it's two different types of English, one for real life and one for IELTS. But after years of helping students achieve high IELTS results, I've realized something. I believe that if you can naturally communicate in English, you're already building the skills you need for IELTS. So from now on, alongside the real-life English you've always found on this channel, I'll also be showing you how the same English can help you succeed in IELTS. Because I don't want to teach you English that only works in exams. I want to help you build English that works everywhere, including an exam. Good morning! What are your favorite hiding spots? It's almost time for my appointment. Can I walk there or should I take a bus? Hi everyone, and welcome to Just Saying. So let's start with one of the biggest myths about the IELTS speaking test. Many learners believe that to get a high score, they need to use lots of advanced vocabulary. Now don't get me wrong, a wide vocabulary is definitely helpful. The more words you know, the more precisely you can express yourself. But that's what many people misunderstand. The examiner isn't listening for the most difficult words you know. They are listening to how well you communicate. Can you answer the question clearly? Can you explain your ideas? Can you keep speaking naturally instead of giving very short answers? That's what really makes the difference. Let me show you what I mean. Imagine the examiner asks you this question. Do you like traveling? A lot of students answer like this. Yes, I like traveling. Is that answer wrong? Not at all. It's grammatically correct. Anyone listening to you will understand exactly what you mean, and so will the examiner. But it's also a missed opportunity, because with just a few changes, you can give the examiner a lot more language to assess without having to rely on lots of advanced English you might not be sure how to use. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you. Let's start with one small vocabulary improvement. Instead of saying, yes, I like traveling, you can say, yes, I really enjoy traveling. We've upgraded one word, and that's absolutely fine. Using enjoy, be keen on, be fond of instead of like can help you express your preferences a little more fluently. But that's not what really transforms your answer. The biggest improvement comes from developing the idea, and that's what we do next. Imagine someone asked you that question in real life. Would you really stop there? Probably not. You'd probably tell them a little more. For example, yes, I really enjoy traveling because I like discovering new places and experiencing different cultures. Already, that's a much stronger answer. Not because you've used lots of difficult vocabulary, but because you've given the examiner more language to assess. And we are not finished yet, because native speakers don't usually stop after giving just one reason. They often add an example or a personal experience. So let's do that too. Yes, I really enjoy traveling. I love discovering new places and experiencing new cultures. I don't really get to travel as much as I would like to, but whenever I do, I always return with unforgettable memories. Can you hear what's happened? I didn't suddenly start using impossible words. I simply developed my answer. I've given my opinion, explained why I feel that way, and supported it with an example. That's exactly what good communicators do, and it's exactly what IELTS examiners want to hear. I've shown that I can connect ideas, explain my opinion, and keep the conversation going. And on top of that, I've simply given the examiner more language to assess. That's why improving your IELTS speaking isn't about memorizing hundreds of difficult words. It's about learning how to express your ideas naturally in English. Before we finish today, I'd like you to try this for yourself. Choose one simple IELTS speaking question. For example, about music, books, cooking, hobbies or family. And don't stop after the first sentence. Give an opinion, explain why, then give an example from your own life. You'll be surprised how much stronger your answer becomes without adding any complicated vocabulary at all. In the next episode, we'll go one step further. I'll show you how native speakers use chunks or groups of words that naturally go together to sound even more fluent and more confident. If you've learned something new today, please like this video and let me know in the comments. Subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this one every week, and follow me on social media for more tips on speaking fluent English. Bye!